We're back. I don't know if I completely disconnected. Can you see me? I'm back. Okay. Did I just lose? Oh, I lost the whole thing. I had to go back to the bag. I lost everything. My internet completely went out. I don't know why. Your ISP straight up hates you? Yeah, it got cooked. I had to disable Ethernet. I couldn't even get it. Anyway, back to the fucking React.
They support Iran and its proxy, Hamas or Hezbollah.
And interestingly, it actually led to this quick exchange about Zoran Mamdani, right, the Democratic candidate in the New York mayor's race. And this exchange, at least so far, has been one of the biggest things picked up by the mainstream media.
I'm just trying to figure it out too, because even in New York City, right? What's Zoran?
Yeah.
He's an anti-Semitic guy.
Yeah.
The highest, I think the
This is fucking bullshit.
highest population of Jews in New York City. How's that even possible?
Well, it's possible because a lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense. I mean, what? You want to defund the police? You want to have people go into stores and, rob them and be free? You think that really creates a good society? You want to crush all enterprise? You want to tax people to death? I mean, that's a one-term effort, but, sometimes you have to get mugged by reality to understand how stupid that is.
Though, of course, Mamdani has forcefully denied accusations of anti-Semitism, promising to govern for Jewish New Yorkers and increase funding to combat hate. But that also, and maybe here's why Netanyahu has an issue, and he's saying all this, Mamdani is accused.
This chatter is so funny. Goddamn. I still can't see you. I can't hear you too. I can't see you or hear you. That's my boomer chatter.
The Israeli government of genocide and said that he would arrest Netanyahu if he ever visited, citing the ICC's arrest warrant. Additionally, Mamdani said he will not defund the police, instead saying he wants to move resources around to make sure that officers are focusing on the most serious crimes. And in fact, he says he plans to keep the current New York Police Department headcount. And then, getting back to Netanyahu, I'll just be honest here. There is just so much more we could unpack in this interview, and it's because shit just went uncontested. And so with the time that we have together, I then want to focus on one of the most interesting aspects of all this, and that has been the response to the interview. Because just starting with their comment section, you had them taking a fucking beating. With their own fans saying you are platforming a war criminal and basically saying that they were being used by Israel. With there just being no shortage of comments like, this was pitched to Netanyahu like this. Don't worry, these guys are idiots. You can use their platform to push whatever propaganda you want and they won't push back on anything. And notably, with all this, they actually responded to the criticism and more on a kick stream yesterday.
Someone said having Netanyahu on is like having modern day Hitler.
No, I saw that.
Which is, honestly, guys, I'll be honest. I'm here to. That's a good point. We're here to learn, to be honest, guys.
And while they're interacting with the chat, they also had like a whole cast of characters coming in to talk to them and criticize them. In there, you had people saying that Netanyahu was just using them for public relations, saying this was an obvious attempt to get young conservative frat guys, the kind of guys in the masculine manosphere type streaming space in the pocket of Israel. They're saying it comes across like they're doing image rehabilitation for him. And numerous people saying that he was interested and picked them because unlike a hard interview with a journalist, they're not going to push back. Right? Arguably the biggest or maybe only pushback really that was there was when they were talking about McDonald's versus Burger King. There was also this weird disturbing moment that happened when other commentator Hasan Piker went on, because a big defense that the NELKBOYS had for themselves is, we try to just get a big name on and be neutral. And then with that in mind, we had this interaction play out.
What about Adolf Hitler?
I think we'd always kind of play the neutral role, to be honest, and just
You would play a neutral role interviewing Adolf Hitler. I don't think that's the case.
And then later regarding the platforming of, I guess, an Adolf Hitler type or people being described as neo-Nazis, we saw this.
The reason why I would still choose not to platform neo-Nazis and things of that nature, regardless of how equipped I am at talking to them about these issues and being able to push back adequately, is because a lot of these guys are simply looking for any opportunity to get their message to a broader audience. They don't actually care about the truth. They don't actually care about coming across like good or bad. They just want to be heard, because every single time they go in front of a larger audience, they end up winning over some people in the margins to their side.
But ultimately, that's where we are right now. And we're gonna have to wait to see what happens next, especially because the NELKBOYS said that they're going to now have someone on, I guess, next week that has the opposite point of view as Netanyahu. And so I'm very interested to see what they think that is, like where that lands between a displaced, starving Palestinian child and like the leader of Hamas, or I don't know. But hey, in the meantime, I'd love to know your thoughts, opinions, and reactions to this whole situation and news. And then you've got more news in just a second. But first, is it even adulthood if you don't have at least one?
I don't even know if I want to know what they think is the exact opposite of Netanyahu. But here is Mahmoud Khalil, a political prisoner of this administration, one of the first major instances where the administration directly took action against an American with a green card for the crime of a First Amendment violation, like the crime of exercising their freedom of speech and hurting the feelings of the state of Israel. Anyway, since then, as you guys know, I interviewed him, and he's been on CNN. And this is how CNN chose to approach the subject matter.
Just to be clear here, though, do you specifically condemn Hamas, a designated terrorist organization in the United States, not just for their actions on October 7th?
I condemn the killing of all civilians, full stop. But what I don't want to get into is no, I am very clear with condemning all civilians. I'm very straight in my position in that part. But it's disingenuous to ask about condemning Hamas while Palestinians are the ones being starved now by Israel. It's not condemning October 6th, where 260 Palestinians were killed by Israel on before October 7. So I hate this selective outrage of condemnation, because this is not, this wouldn't lead to a constructive conversation. And this is also like what we want to deal with is the root causes of why that happened. And it's in no way anyone can justify the killing of civilians.
Mahmoud, we did ask about, we've talked at length about your views, of course, on the Palestinians, but it is fair to ask you about whether you condemn Hamas, because the Trump administration has claimed that you are a Hamas sympathizer. So it's very important to actually ask that question in this broad conversation.
Yeah, I simply asked and protested the war in Palestine. That's what I did. That's my duty as a Palestinian, as a human being right now, is to...
What do you do? I mean, this is literally her trying to set him up to, I guess, what? Get deported? Get arrested by Trump again? Set up a separate fucking legal case? Like, what are we doing here? Demonic. Pure evil. Pure evil. Do you condemn Hamas on July 22nd, 2025, after this dude spent 104 days in fucking prison? What a fucking ridiculous thing.
ask for the stop of the killing in my home country, and that's consistent with who I am. I'm a firm believer in international law and human rights, and all my values come from that point. It's just like, to me, it's always, as I said, disingenuous and absurd to ask such questions when literally 62,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel, and that's why I wouldn't really engage much into such questions on condemnation or not.
It's insane. And now, of course, this this interview is making the rounds. John Kennedy, Mahmoud Khalil can't even bring himself to condemn Hamas. So why are many Democrats in Washington falling over themselves to support him? And the Department of Homeland Security's own account also made good use of this moment, doubling down. Wait, what the fuck? Hello? What the fuck is going on? Did I lose internet again? Oh, I didn't even lose internet. I just lost it on my end. It seemed there was a blip on my end. I didn't even see it. Okay. All right. Well, let's continue. Department of Homeland Security also released a statement. Mahmoud Khalil refused to condemn Hamas because he is a terrorist sympathizer, not because DHS painted him as one. He branded himself as anti-Semite through his own hateful behavior and rhetoric. Anti-Semite. It is a privilege to be granted a visa or green card to live and study in the United States of America. The Trump administration acted well within its statutory and constitutional authority to detain Khalil, as it does with any alien who advocates for violence, glorifies a supposed terrorist, harasses Jews, and damages property. He did no such thing. Why not just condemn them when asked and move on? Everyone who supports him knows the truth. Man, are you fucking joking? Be for fucking real. His goddamn people are being slaughtered, and you want him to make these like fucking stupid ass concessions? Get the fuck out of here. Suck my cock, dude. Fuck all of you. I swear to God. Some of you fucking fair weather allies need to shut the fuck up, okay? Need to shut the fuck up. It keeps him out of jail. What is the mindset of an American chauvinist that immediately puts the blame on a people that is being genocided? It is the same mindset, the same cucked mentality that the American has, that always looks for reasons as to how someone must comply with the police. Never to lay the blame and the responsibility in the hands that is worthy of said blame. It's never the cops' problem. It's why didn't you just comply? Why didn't you just condemn Hamas? Why do you not condemn Hamas after Israel has genocided the entirety of the fucking Gaza Strip? God damn, dude. Some of you need to shut the fuck up. At least get your bearing straight, okay? And just have the decency to shut your fucking bitch ass mouth the fuck up, okay? It costs $0 and 0 cents to keep fucking quiet on this moment. Do you not understand what the fuck is going on here? This dude was literally sent to prison for the crime of what? Saying the truth. For the crime of saying the truth about Israel. And you're over here being like, why doesn't he just condemn Hamas? What's next, dude? Why doesn't he just say Israel is great? Why doesn't he just say Israel is actually awesome? Why doesn't he just say that his people's genocide is perfectly fucking valid? That they deserve to be genocided? And don't come at me and be like, there's a fucking mountain there's a mountain range between not condemning Hamas and like saying that Palestinians deserve to be genocided. No, it comes from the same place. It comes exactly from the same place. The condemnations demanded is demanded specifically for the justification as to why Israel had to conduct its military campaign. You're a terrorist, this guy says. Suck my fucking dick, okay? Where are you going? That's crazy. She quietly thought she could leave. Never give an inch to these fucking losers, especially at this point, okay? You would have paid the piper close to October 7. You had to do it, okay? If you wanted any opportunity to like actually have a fucking conversation about something productive about what Israel was doing, you had to fucking do some version of this. That's 2 years ago, okay? It's been 2 fucking years of endless, unlimited ethnic cleansing. Israel is starving Palestinian children every single day. Children are dying of malnourishment. And you're over here being like, well, why can't he just condemn Hamas and like move on? Get the fuck out of here, dude. It's over. It's done. It is a far greater fucking crime to even demand someone like Mahmoud Khalil condemn Hamas at this fucking point than whether or not he sits there and says he loves Hamas or hates Hamas. It doesn't fucking matter. That is crazy. K-File breaking news. Wait, what? Oh. The entire question as to why, the entire reason as to why Mahmoud Khalil is being asked to condemn Hamas is specifically because that offers room for justification for Israel's military campaign, okay? That is the framework that they want him to operate off of. Especially in a situation where, like, his words are literally the reason why the administration threw him in prison. It is ridiculous to ask this question, especially because it will be used to take away his freedom once again. How should he respond to the bad faith question? I think he did a fine job. This question is utterly ridiculous. I have made my position on the limits of resistance, and I've made my position be perfectly clear that I do not condone civilians being targeted. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's ridiculous. That's what I said at the fucking Customs and Border Patrol question as well. They didn't ask me directly if I condemn Hamas, but they kept asking me, what do you think about Hamas? Do you love Hamas? Do you like Hamas? I kept saying Hamas is designated by the American State Department as a terrorist organization. I'm on the side of no more bloodshed. That's it. I'm on the side of ending civilian deaths. That's it. You don't have to say anything other than that. You're making no value judgments there. You're just simply saying what your position is. I genuinely understand, but all I was asking is if you're going to talk to people you know are going to entrap you, why wouldn't you just tell them to keep them to shut up and carry on the good fight to end the genocide? No hate. No, dude. No, that's fucking bullshit. That's complete and utter nonsense to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he is, just say you condemn Hamas and move on is ridiculous. Okay? Especially not at this point. He's never said anything that's even remotely pro-Hamas, and they put him in jail anyway, chatter. Do you think this has anything to do with whether he condemns Hamas or not? Fuck that. It is monstrous to ask this question this far in. Please, can you help me understand why Israel is bad? I'm from the UK. I feel like the media I've seen has pushed me and many others into believing Israel are not the problem. I don't know, man. They're doing a mass starvation campaign right now. 4 children just died yesterday of famine. I think that alone, beyond the endless bombing campaign over the course of the past 2 years, should help you realize that they are evil, fucking monstrous pieces of shit in the way that they've conducted themselves since October 7. That's it. And the reason why the British media is actively running cover for Israel is because the British government is also culpable, just like ours is. That's why our media also does this kind of insane nonsense. It's 2 years of endless bloodshed, man. What are we doing? And it started far before October 7, of course. But it's been 2 years of unlimited fucking bloodshed at this point. It's crazy how someone can still have this position where it's like, can you explain to me why Israel is in the wrong? Anyway. Like, do you condemn October 7, Hamas for October 7 attacks? Norman Finkelstein responds. This is a 15-minute conversation with an American citizen of Jewish descent who is the descendant of Holocaust survivors having an academic conversation on a podcast. Is very different set of standards for Mahmoud Khalil than fucking Norm Finkelstein on a CNN hit after he was released from prison for the original crime, in air quotes, of speaking out against Israel to begin with.
Second question that I struggle with, and this is the notorious question of condemnation. Do you condemn what Hamas did on October 7th? And you have a very interesting answer to this. You've said that I think it's a question mark how Hamas on October 7th is going to be regarded in the future. You have drawn parallels to the slave rebellions of 1831 when Nat Turner explicitly targeted whites. And objectively, it was a horrific act of violence, atrocious, but despite that, Frederick Douglass has said that you can draw a straight line from Nat Turner.
No, Frederick Douglass said you can draw a straight line from John Brown to the Civil War. But John Brown says he was inspired by Nat Turner.
Right.
So you could say on a trajectory, Nat Turner was 1 point, John Brown was a 2nd point, the Civil War the 3rd point.
Okay, so by extension, you can draw that line from Nat Turner to John Brown to the Civil War, and then from there to the abolition of slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation. Objectively positive outcomes. So despite Nat Turner committing this condemnable act of violence, now he occupies an honored place in history. And you say, in light of that, it's a question mark. What place Hamas on October 7th is going to occupy in history. Before I tell you where I struggle with this argument, I just want to check with you. Have I summarized your stance correctly? Have I missed anything?
That's correct.
Okay, great. this is where I struggle with this argument. Frederick Douglass was able to see a line connecting John Brown to the Civil War, and we're able to see that influence John Brown had from Nat Turner. But if I try to apply the same protocol to other acts of violence that I condemn, then it dilutes everything. And then I lose free will, no accountability, there's complete chaos. I'll give you a very intentionally extreme example. In 1978, after the Saur Revolution, the United States funded the rise of the Mujahideen to oppose the Soviet Union and the Soviet-backed People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, the PDPA. By funding the Mujahideen, they also funded the rise of this man named Osama bin Laden, who broke out from the Mujahideen and formed Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda declared war on the US. They took great offense to the United States military presence in Saudi Arabia after the Gulf War, the Kuwait War. They opposed US funding and support for Israel. They opposed the sanctions on Iraq. And then the US involvement in multiple Islamic countries. Declared war on the US. That led to 9/11. You already know where I'm going with this. You can draw a straight line from the US funding of the Mujahideen to Osama bin Laden, to Al-Qaeda, to 9/11. And I'm saying, I don't care about the context and I don't care where the line is drawn. I grew up in the Middle East. So I know, I completely agree with you that the United States destroyed Afghanistan, destroyed Iraq, has destroyed Palestine, is destroying Iran. I think the United States is directly responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of civilians. Their policy has been a lot more. Their policy has been nefarious and they have blood on their hands. I completely agree with you. But despite that context, I don't think it's a question mark what place 9/11 holds in history. Even if you draw that line all the way to 9/11, there's no question mark in my mind. It was a horrific act. It was an act of violence. And there's no question mark what place it occupies in history.
I think you missed a couple of things. First of all, I've never said it wasn't a horrific thing. I've repeatedly said there can be no question that atrocities of a significant magnitude occurred on October 7th. As of now, people still debate to what extent Israel was responsible for the atrocities on October 7th. I would say based on the currently available information, the only reasonable conclusion is that overwhelmingly the civilian deaths that occurred on October 7th were due to the actions of Hamas.
It's so funny to somehow tie America's invasion of Iraq to 9/11. Like, that's wild. Okay? Because Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. Like, that's not even a position that the average American believes any longer. That was barely a position that Americans believed back then.
Of Gaza militants. However, as I said, number one, I recognize those were atrocities and they can't be characterized as anything but. But there's, in my opinion, a distinction to be made between an acknowledgement of the atrocities and a condemnation of those who perpetrated the atrocities. So let me try to concretize that. We have the case of Nat Turner. He's born a slave. And it happens he's a very smart guy. It is. Everybody said about Nat Turner, white and black. They all said, that Nat's a very smart guy. The fellow who famously wrote his confession, there was the Confessions of Nat Turner. He said that he rarely met a person, black or white, who was as smart as this guy. Okay? And Nat Turner was not unaware of his natural gifts, those endowments from God or from whoever you believe they came. And he knew that, bar a miracle, he would never be able to realize any of his gifts, any of his talents. He was born a slave, he would live as a slave, and he was going to die as a slave. Now, in his mind, there was no other option than to commit some sort of mass killing in order either to inspire an uprising or to foment an uprising or to transmit a message to the white population that if you don't end this slavery, this is what you risk. This is what's on the horizon for you. He thought those were the only two, that was the only option for him. Kill all white people, though he said later, and nobody disputes it, he said once we got a firm grounding, he would stop killing whites, innocent whites, civilians. But he felt as a tactical matter, the only option he had at the beginning was to carry out this gruesome, ghastly massacre of white people, men, women, and children. Mm-hmm. So let's say you were in the court of law and you...
Can you imagine? Like, Mahmoud Khalil, why don't you do this 15-minute response?
You were the prosecutor. And Nat Turner was on the witness stand. You are white.
On CNN.
You represent, you embody, you incarnate this whole system of slavery. You're part of it. You're part of the machinery of slavery. Okay? And do you believe
so ultimately, what is the end goal for both sides? What is it they both want or one wants, etc.? And with the high chance of sounding like an asshole, why should I care? I'm going to be honest with you, chatter. I hope you enjoy your society collapsing in front of your eyes as you go down and sedate yourself in this assumption that it's actually the Polish and the Muslims that are ruining British civilization and British society. You deserve it. Sorry. At the risk of sounding like an asshole, let me tell you something. You are a fucking asshole. You're a goddamn peasant, okay? You have peasant mindset. You don't understand that your tax dollars are funding the death and destruction of children overseas, and that alone is not enough for you to go, yeah, mate, I don't think it's a good idea to do that. Maybe we should fix the fucking trains so that they run on time. But instead of that, you're going, my lordship, take more of my tithing. I've worked hard for this grain, my lordship. Give it to Israel, the biblical land, my lord. Okay? I don't believe that. What do you mean? Why should anybody care about this? It's like saying, why should anybody care about the fucking Nazis doing the Holocaust, dude? What are you talking about? Why are you so comfortable showcasing your lack of humanity? That's number one. Number two, there is already a selfish argument against Israel here as well. Why the fuck do you think it's appropriate for a goddamn foreign state that's propped up by your stupid inbred fucking island originally, and now my inbred fucking country now that is endlessly destabilizing this fucking region, drawing a shit ton of enmity, and also creating a fucking refugee crisis on a daily fucking basis? Are you stupid? They're getting unlimited support, and on top of that, they're laughing at you, and on top of that, they get to control what you can and can't say in fucking England. They're locking up people, your goddamn grandparents, for fucking 14 years in prison because they dared say Palestine Action, the only fucking group that is engaging in direct action against Israel's genocide, is actually a terrorist group like it's fucking ISIS or something. Now you got 83-year-old grandmothers going to fucking jail for saying that the Palestine Action is actually right and correct. Why this specifically, though? Not like child labor in China or child exploitation around other parts in the world? What are you saying? What do you mean child labor in China, you fucking dingus? Use a different example. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Why do you think this is an appropriate fucking response? You're like, you know what this feels like to me? Your cousin gets raped, and then your cousin's like, I just got raped. This person raped me. And you go, well, can you talk about all the other times that other people have gotten raped? Why should I care about you being raped by this person? Why should I even choose to apprehend this person? Why should I say anything at all? Are you fucking stupid? Sorry, cousin. There are people getting raped every day around the world. You're just looking for excuses for your fucking sociopathic lack of empathy, okay? You don't need any. Just fucking say you're an asshole and move on. And in the process, you will have your rights removed piece by fucking piece. Go ahead. You'll assume, you'll entertain, you'll assume that like, oh, well, as long as I never speak out against my lordship, I'll be fine. Fuck it. Yes. Very nice. And then they'll just take more and more of your fucking taxable revenue in support of their endless conquest. It seems like a great fucking bargain, okay? After all, there's other issues happening all around the world, so God forbid you focus on this one, okay? Don't do it. You're in the Epstein files. Calm down or you will go bald. Daddy chill. There's child labor everywhere, especially in Hasan's basement. Hasan in the Epstein files. You're in the Epstein files. As what, a fucking victim, dumbass? This doesn't even make like sense from a timeline. The fuck do you mean? When Jeffrey Epstein was operating, I was like 10 years old in Turkey, you fucking moron. To the extent that people writ large are only capable of caring about one particular issue at a time, something that's not true except as a matter of projection from those whom that actually applies. Children being bombed is technically a more pressing matter than child labor, but I'm meeting the chatter on a completely fucked ideological field, so it doesn't really matter. No, that person is just simply looking desperately for an excuse to not have any sort of like serious, like that person is just trying to save themselves, or rather, have someone basically fucking say, oh no, you're actually a good guy. You're totally fine. What is this? With the risk of sounding like an asshole. No, this is the same dumb nonsense. It's just fucking whataboutism. It's like, well, child labor is happening. Yeah. I can see what happened with this guy, by the way. I don't think this person is actually a cynical nihilist. I think this person is an Israel dick rider, especially considering that he was in this community and then noticeably left and only returned only recently. Only this year did he return. Suspiciously left the community, even though he was following since January 20th, 2021. Suspiciously left the community after October 7th, it seems. How about playing the video, dumb fuck? Okay. Here you go. No, this person's not in the bargaining phase of acceptance. He just wants to be fucking heard. He wants to show everybody how big of a fucking asshole he is. That's it.
That you could interrogate Nat Turner.
He wants
sitting
attention.
on the witness stand. And indignantly saying to him, Nat Turner, do you realize what a horrible crime you committed? Do you realize how beastly, how bestial, how uncivilized your action was? So I ask you, do you believe that you occupied the moral high ground such that you could scold and reprimand in indignant cadences what Nat Turner did? Or would you have sufficient moral self-awareness to say, you know, what happened was horrible, but then full stop, because you had no right, knowing as you did what slavery was, knowing as you did the life he had lived and the prospects that he faced of slavery to earthly eternity.
Your haters are just so fucking stupid, man. What is this?
You should be required to submit a video of you doing.
Hasan says you can't have an opinion on his opinions unless you clear a certain bench. If you can't clear 225 at least, a decent 6 or 7, you should not be able to have any opinions on what I say. No, I meant it sincerely. I'm glad that I'm glad that 95% of the commentary surrounding myself online is just people being like, he is incapable of saying something with in sincerity. He is incapable of saying something sarcastically. You know what I mean? Like so much of that. So much of this just unironically revolves around just being like, oh, you're incapable of making a joke. I don't believe it. I don't agree. I think you said that seriously.
You had no right to criticize him. You can criticize the act, but you don't have the moral high ground to criticize him, which is exactly why the white abolitionists, those who opposed slavery at the time, they condemned the act, but they stopped short of condemning Nat Turner. On the contrary, they reserved all of their venom and indignation at the whites, saying, we told you so. We warned you. We warned you again and again and again. If you treat people this way, don't be surprised at what they might do. And when I read that by people like William Lloyd Garrison, who was one of the leading abolitionist figures, I thought to myself, that was the correct moral approach. A version of condemn the sin, but not the sinner. This is a version of it. You can condemn what was done, but you don't have the moral high ground to condemn the perpetrators, because I spent a large part of my life, a small part of which can be seen here, just reading the reports on Gaza and what was being done to those people. And I, not because of some flamboyant radicalism or radicalness or trying to show how holier than thou and how pure I am, or trying to win points with Hezbollah or Hamas. No, I just said I couldn't do it. I know too much. One of the titles of one of my books was called Knowing Too Much. And it was about why American Jews were distancing themselves from Israel. Namely, they know too much about how ugly that regime is. And I knew too much about Gaza. I knew too much. There was no way on God's earth, and I would have regarded it as a complete and total betrayal of the values imparted to me by my parents based on their life experience, were I to take the easy route and say, you know, in response to Piers Morgan, do you condemn what happened? Yes, I condemn it, but we have to remember this and have to remember that. No, I was not going to even grant, you know, many people like Bernie Sanders would say, oh, you know, what happened October 7th, but we have to remember the Palestinian this and Palestinian that. And you start by condemning October 7th. That was sort of the gate. You had to pass through that gate in order to be part of the conversation. If you wouldn't do the condemnation, you're not part of the conversation. And I wouldn't do the condemnation, not because I wanted to strike a radical pose. I knew too much. And I knew exactly that was why the abolitionists couldn't condemn Nat Turner. Because they walked in the streets. They saw the slave auctions. They saw the humiliation, the degradation, the destruction of the lives of a whole people. It was right before their eyes.
Yeah, what do you expect? What do you expect people to do when you push them to this fucking corner? When you push them to react this way, and then you turn around and expect condemnations. It's ridiculous. This is what I said on October 8th. I was right then, and I'm right now. The idea that like the responsibility and the blame should be laid in the hands of the Palestinian population for how they choose to resist is completely avoiding the reasons as to why the Palestinian resistance has formed and why it has become a violent force capable of committing atrocities on October 7. And just like Norm Finkelstein, I recognize that there were acts of violence that would be considered terror. That would be considered terrorist by like the already vague definitional standards on October 7. Having said that, that is not even remotely a fraction of the violence that the Palestinians have historically been subjected to. The violence that created the conditions for October 7 to begin with. Dude, shut up. Oh my God. Mods, ban this fucking loser. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, dude. Oh, fuck. Me. Oh my God. He's like, oh, you're making it so hard for me. I want to understand where you're coming from, but you're making it so hard. It's like, dude, there's 30,000 motherfuckers in here, bro. God damn. You think it's just me and you in this conversation? At least like know your plays. At least like keep quiet if you don't know the details. Jesus Christ, dude. Holy fucking shit. Shut the fuck up. Oh, you're making it hard for me to understand where you're coming from because I keep saying how selfish I am after fucking hundreds of thousands of fucking Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered in broad daylight after a 2-year genocide campaign. And I'm still going, oh, I don't know. Can you please educate me? Coming in here as though you're like genuinely, sincerely, charitably trying to fucking understand the situation. And then simultaneously being like, well, why should I care? Okay, well, don't. Fucking, I hope a similar fate that you think is not important befalls upon you and your family and your 7 generations. Okay? Maybe then you'll care.
The difference with me was, you see,
seemingly because it's not that significant. No one should care about this, right? And maybe people won't care about you either.
Gaza was sealed off. How many people had a clue what was going on in Gaza? They just knew this place, Gaza. They didn't even know. Actually, most people didn't even have a clue that you weren't allowed to leave. Most people thought, why don't they just go somewhere else? Well, guess what? They couldn't. I knew too much. There was no way. I never for a moment hesitated about condemning them. My problem was very simple. I didn't know how to think it through. I knew I wouldn't condemn them, but I didn't know how to think through the argument. And I went through, I would say, a good week or more of real anguish and agony over, it's not just your feeling. How do I
pose the real question? What are you an advocate for that you've never been a victim of? Everything. Literally, I'm a fucking straight, attractive white man in the United States of America. Virtually everything I advocate for does not impact me at all. That's unironically part of the reason why half of the animosity is directed towards me on the internet. They're like, oh, he must be a fucking grifter because why does he care about anyone but himself? That is literally half of the fucking argument from some of these epic dinguses. Yeah, and Rich too, on top of that. They literally can't comprehend it where they're like, dude, why do you give a fuck? Why do you give a fuck about this? Be like me. Don't give a fuck about this. Be selfish. Why the fuck are you caring? Why do you care? Stop caring. You're going to urge me to care if you keep caring so hard. Shut the fuck up, you goddamn terrorist. Okay, bitch.
Persuade. How do I convince?
How does it feel that the walls are closing in? I wonder. I truly wonder. It's got to feel isolating. It's got to feel lonely. That like the only fucking communities where you have this kind of attitude, where you can demonstrate this kind of attitude is like an increasingly smaller sliver of the internet. Didn't you support Hamas and Hezbollah? Like just an increasingly tinier sliver. At least like people that had this kind of attitude initially have realized that it's probably better to shut the fuck up. Okay? I support the resistance against the criminal state of Israel. Okay? Israel is a criminal enterprise. I support resisting genocide. I support resisting apartheid, both historically and in contemporary society. It's that simple. If you don't, that's a you problem. You can't just consistently keep claiming and doing this. You love dead Palestinians, more fake outrage to push America bad. Like, how is this any different than Benjamin Netanyahu's statement? Oh, it's just, it makes us look bad. Dead Palestinians make us look bad. Okay, then stop. That's your fault. That's your problem. It makes you feel bad, and you can't get on the right side of this argument. You cannot get on the right side of this fucking argument. You can't turn around and be like, it's actually fucked up what Israel's doing, so I have to make it seem like Israel is a natural disaster, and therefore, you know, people on the opposing side of Israel are actually on the wrong side of this argument because they somehow love when Israel kills Palestinian children so they can farm outrage. You think I give a shit? I lost a third of my fucking audience after October 7th. Suck my dick. Well, guess what? I'm from Iran and we don't want your support. Okay. I don't know why. Only someone who lives in America thinks that this is like a saving grace to be like, I'm from Iran. You think you're special? I don't give a fuck. It's the magician in the chat. It's Waluigi. He's in here. He's doing it. He's doing the damn thing. Ay, ay, ay. What is fucking going on? Everything is breaking right now. Okay, we fixed it. Hold on. Hold on. Waluigi Zadeg. Jesus. I'm also from Iran and I disagree with that chatter. There you go. Equilibrium. Equilibrium, baby. What now, Iranian chatter? Your lack of support has been eliminated. What do you do then? I see your personal anecdote and I increase it with multiple personal anecdotes. Interlocutors destroyed in the marketplace of ideas. And like I was saying though, the people that are fucking complaining like you're a terrorist, like how does that work in your mind that like only in your circles online where like pedophiles, sex criminals, neo-Nazis, and people who align with them happen to think a certain way, but then virtually every fucking institutional, established mainstream newspaper and publication filled to the brim with educated journalists and reporters feel the exact opposite way. Unless you personally think they're all also in on the conspiracy, that they are also terrorist supporters. Or perhaps you're just fucking wrong. You know? You might be. It's actually quite liberating to sometimes catch yourself in a lie and to recognize that it was wrong and to, you know, really reconsider the way you've seen something. If you just keep assuming the State Department position over and over and over again and just going, oh, dude, you're a terrorist, you're a terrorist, you're a real danger to American society, you're a terrorist, over and over again, like you can keep repeating that, but it's not going to make it more true. I think I have charity and I believe that you can actually make up your own conclusion. I think you can change your mind. I think you're all capable of doing that. You know? At a certain point, you got to stop and maybe go, man, we kept calling this motherfucker a terrorist. He's never been banned. Is it because there's like a global conspiracy to fucking uplift this person? And some people do actually take that leap instead. And they go into like QAnon. But for one guy, me, they go into like QAnon style conspiracies at this point where they're like, Hasan is blackmail on the CEO of Twitch. Hasan is blackmail on Jeff Bezos. Hasan is blackmail on every fucking media outlet. Turns into Q Hasan. Or maybe the guys who keep priming you up, tuning you up, angering you over and over again, do not have your best interest in mind and don't actually have a consistent, clear position. And they're just basically getting you angry so you can come in here and say that in here over and over again. But little by little, you lose a piece of yourself when you behave this way. Why are we engaging with these freaks? Because for as many freaks who are speaking out in the chat like that, there are probably 10, if not 100, who aren't speaking out, who might actually fucking learn the appropriate lesson from this. I'm not going to discount that. You know? I'm sure there are. So every now and then it's good to just like take a deep breath and be like, listen, dude, make up your own mind. Make up your own mind. Watch, listen to what I have to say, see if it actually is different than what you've been primed into believing. There are obviously people like this who unapologetically will come in here like, I don't think this guy's going to be saved. Dan Saltman has exposed the CEO of Twitch to be an anti-Semite. Okay, buddy. You have had interviewed a Houthi and engage in rape apologia. Speaking of rape apologia, using Dan Saltman as a fucking reliable narrator here while simultaneously saying I engage in rape apologia is so funny because Dan Saltman literally blackmailed members of Sex Destiny's community as a 60-year-old man into shutting the fuck up about Destiny's sex crimes. So that's your community. I don't think he's an honest actor here. But here's the thing. How did you lose sight of who you are that you became a fedayeen for a 60-year-old loser who's so desperate for friendship that he will latch on to a community that he actually despises? At least he used to. I don't know if he still does. Maybe he's just given up on that notion because it gives him a crumb of clout and attention. You know? And it's all because of Israel. All this dog shit is because of Israel. I know. I've yet to see a fucking hater of mine come from a community that's like reliable and reasonable. You know what I mean? It's just people who are incredibly sad, who unironically push themselves further and further into the depths of depravity for no reason. Like literally no reason whatsoever. You're just kind of doing this to yourself and you're harming your own mental state by consistently engaging with these communities. It makes you lose sight of like all of the failures in your own life, and it gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of community. And I totally understand that. But you could use all of that energy and put it into more productive things instead of engaging in the act of self-harm. You could literally do something that improves your immediate circumstances, improves your life. Straight up. It would make you an infinitely happier person, because there's going to come a time where you're going to be past the point of no return and look back at your life and be like, this is what I did. This is what I wasted my time doing, spending every single fucking day following someone who I despise, fighting a battle for an internet daddy that doesn't know who I am, that will maybe barely give me a fucking fraction of recognition instead of like fixing my life. That's it. Like, I spend every waking moment online. I like what I do. I think there's a good purpose for it. I love this community. Okay? There are plenty of people who spend a decent amount of time in here as well, but at least they're putting it to productive use. They're learning things about what's going on in the world. They're developing an opinion. Hopefully, they're taking away decent lessons from all of this, and then going back and applying it in their own lives to improve their lives, to improve their material circumstances, piece by piece, slowly but surely. Very different set of circumstances than like just constantly fucking being in someone you despise's chat to basically find any. You should know with your amount of audience, you're definitely targeted by Hasbro campaigns who write trash to trigger you. I mean, it's fucking bullshit. There's nothing. It is irrelevant. If you're going to hate watch someone who matters. That's the other thing. Because I only matter as much as you believe I matter. Like, the easiest solution to not being angered by me is to just turn it off. You know what I mean? And to watch like TikTok videos or something. To watch someone who you actually appreciate. And if you're going to have so much enmity and so much anger and resentment, redirect that focus to someone who actually does matter. Someone who holds power. You know what I mean? That's what blows my fucking mind. You're like, nope. I disagree with this guy, and I'm going to spend every fucking waking moment in his chat hoping that I can get something that I can clip off and that we can make go viral, and then maybe people will yell at him. They've been doing this for fucking, 6-7 years at this point? It's crazy. With very little return on that investment. Maybe every now and then you catch me in a fucking weak moment and I get angry at you, and then it makes you feel alive. But like, is it worth it at the end of the day? Because if you say yes to that, if you feel like that is genuinely a good use of your time, holy fuck, you have nothing to live for. They hate you so much during your vacation, they find and push clips around, never stop, unfortunately. I know, but it doesn't even work. That's what I mean. I think not only does it not work, it actually backfires because it causes people to come in and check it out for themselves. For as many people that go, yeah, I'm writing this guy off, there's probably 10 people that go, hold on, I want to see what this motherfucker has to say. And then they come in here and then they watch and they're like, okay, well, this guy ain't all that bad. So what do? You can't make people wear the same fucking framework when they can make up their own minds, especially when the way you are presenting me is so fucking ridiculous that like a couple seconds of spending time in here will immediately make someone in the margins realize that they've been duped by a negatively framed clip. What is this? Famous lawyer who defended Jeffrey Epstein is now dead. Roy Black was one of Jeffrey Epstein's... Who's this guy? Roy Black was one of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal defense attorneys when he was charged with federal sex trafficking. Charged Palm Beach County Attorney State Attorney Barry Krischer allowed the notorious sex trafficker to plead to misdemeanor charges. Black was critical in the negotiation of the infamous non-prosecution agreement. I don't know about that. I don't know about what this is. He was old as fuck, I suspect. Oh, he was 80 years old? Wow. What an untimely demise.
Tonight, the breaking news, a CNN exclusive tonight out front. K-File has unearthed photos of Jeffrey Epstein that we've never seen, and they shed new light on his relationship with President Trump. The revelations come as Trump is under fire from his own base for his Justice Department's handling of the so-called Epstein files. Trump has tried, of course, to distance himself from Epstein every which way. But one of the photos that K-File found confirms that Epstein actually attended Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. And this is the proof. Again, this has never been published before. So this is a new image. You haven't seen it out there on X or anything like that. This is...
That's crazy. Epstein and Ghislaine were all up and down both the Clinton weddings and the fucking Trump wedding. That's crazy. Like, Ghislaine was front and center for Chelsea Clinton's wedding, okay? Ghislaine Maxwell was. And now we got info on Epstein being front and center at Trump's wedding. God damn, dude. These guys were everywhere.
The proof that Epstein attended Trump's wedding at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And in the photo, what you see is Epstein entering the Plaza Hotel. The wedding date of this is December 20th, 1993, in the center of their friendship, which of course continued. And for comparison, we'll show you on the right a photo of Trump and Marla Maples at the same location under the entryway arch. Andrew Kaczynski of K-File is here with the new images of Trump and Epstein. And Andrew, I shared one of them there, but, so let's start with the one at Trump's wedding. I mean, this is a significant development.
Well, yeah, it is. Trump's wedding to Marla Maples in 1993 was dubbed the wedding of the century.
Friend of the show, K-File, he did it again. Consistent hitter.
By the media at the time. And although we know that Trump and Epstein were friends during this period, this is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding. This is, we should note, more than a decade before those first allegations of sex trafficking against Epstein. But as you know, Trump's relationship with Epstein has been under the microscope recently. Now, besides that one photo of Epstein entering the reception at the Plaza Hotel, we can also see him in the background of another picture. That's Howard Stern on the far right, along with Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And Epstein is behind them at the wedding, almost seeming to be photobombing them. We also found this photo from just a few months earlier. Donald Trump with two of his children talking to Jeffrey Epstein. That's at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York in October 1993. You can see Ivana there. She would have been just about to turn 12 years old in that photo.
Yeah, you can see Ivanka right there it looks like between Trump and Epstein. All right, these are never before seen photos, Andrew. I know you also found some video of Trump and Epstein that was from later of them talking that has also never surfaced before. What's that?
Well, that's right. This is from 6 years later in 1999. This video has never been seen before in this context. It shows Trump talking to Jeffrey Epstein just before models hit the runway at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York in 1999. You know, the only other video we've seen of the two men was 7 years before this. Trump is at the show with Melania, who is, of course, now First Lady, seated a few...
Are you guys still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Give it up. Let it go. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's okay. I whispered in his ear. Come on, give it up. Stop talking about it.
Feet away from Epstein. You can see them chatting.
It's so boring. It's boring. Dude, you know what's going to fucking blow a nut on this whole thing? I'm going to tell you what it is. There is going to come out, there is going to be some fucking info, I'm speculating, that actually ties Donald Trump to at least Ghislaine Maxwell far past the point of Jeffrey Epstein, like, breakup. Because like I said, a lot of this is from the time frame between the 90s and early 2000s. We know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were involved with one another and good friends with one another. We didn't know how good friends they were. It seems like they were very good friends, very close. Okay. But there is going to be something that shows that Donald Trump's actually ties to Jeffrey Epstein never ended after like early 2000, and that either directly by either through Ghislaine Maxwell or directly past the point of 2003 when there's like no known interaction between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein comes back out. That's not true. We do know that they were almost best friends, but there's much proof of this. No, I'm just saying, I can see something that Trump is. It feels to me like Trump is trying to hide something in their involvement. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because if I'm Trump, I'm flexing, okay? If I'm Trump, I'm flexing that I cut Jeffrey Epstein off far before anyone else did, before he was even popped by the feds for sex trafficking of minors. Like, I found something suspicious. There's plausible deniability. You could just be like, you thought something was off and you just decided to sever ties with this guy. And it turns out it was a great idea, right? All the while, there are so many people, liberal elites, Republican elites that kept up their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein even after he was arrested for sex trafficking minors and served a light but still a prison sentence for sex trafficking minors. Like, people still kept a relationship with him. So the very fact that Trump doesn't talk about how fucking smart he was ahead of time is awfully suspicious, because he loves gloating. He'd be like, Bill Gates, he loves Jeffrey Epstein, not me. I stopped talking to Jeffrey. We were good friends at a time, and it was a mistake. I thought he was weird. I stopped talking to him, and then lo and behold, turns out he was a pedophile. But then Bill Gates, he kept talking to him. He went and he met him after he knew he was a pedophile. Right? Like, isn't that something that Trump would say? Bill Clinton. Did MAGA just not know that there were a ton of pictures like this before last month? No, there were a ton of pictures, but this is new. There were like 50 photos of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump side by side in lockstep, arm to arm. But this is still new. Isn't that crazy that there is even more relationship that we did not know about, even though we knew that there was a relationship? The fact that he isn't hammering on the Clintons and is instead trying to suggest they made up the Epstein files, somehow put themselves in there, is just every kind of sus. I agree. He's been acting very different about this Epstein shit. Like, very different than the way he normally would. He's Teflon Don after all. Right? Isn't he fucking Teflon Don? If he just told his base, like, if he did the RFK Jr. thing and just like volunteered this information ahead of time and was like, yeah, he was a bad guy, real bad guy, didn't know how bad of a guy he was, but I felt like something was off and that's why I stopped being friends with him. And then it came out he was a real bad guy. But all these liberal Democrats, they all kept being his friend. They kept inviting him to weddings. I never invited him to a wedding after my last wedding. You know, that kind of shit.
During the show as well. Allegations that Epstein sexually abused underage girls didn't surface until 2005, years after this video was shot.
Right, but this, of course, establishes them together and obviously very friendly in 1999. So, Andrew, when you get all this, and all of this, as I just want to emphasize, right, has not been seen before. So you actually called President Trump. You called him directly to ask him about this.
Yeah, we were not on the phone very long. I think our call was about 30 seconds or so. But when I asked him about the wedding photo, he said, he sort of paused for a second and then said, "You've got to be kidding me," before calling CNN fake news and then hanging up on me. Now, in a statement to CNN, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said this. He said these are nothing more than out of context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a, quote, creep.
All right. Well, it is incredible reporting, and it is important in this context as the country wants, answers on everything to do with Epstein. Andrew, thank you.
I do love that he said, "You got to be kidding me." I do love that. Burnett, the White House response to us, they said the president was never in Epstein's office. Is that true? Mark Epstein, he was there. Oh, Mark Epstein is back leaking.
Think of this, something that the White House told us yesterday. We talked to a woman who
This is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein.
Brother of sexual assault. And she also talked about an encounter with Trump at your brother's office. This was in 1995. She found it disturbing. She said she told the FBI twice to look into people around your brother, including Trump. But she talked about this incident that she said happened in his office. And the White House, their response to us, Mark, they were categorical. They said, quote, "The president was never in Epstein's office."
Trump just called Tulsi hot. That's amazing. Dude, I think he literally thought that, like, if he just said, like, Barack Obama is a black man who did not want me to be president and he cheated, that, like, his base would be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Barack Obama is black. That's right. He's a Muslim African president. He's fake president. He did come after our big, beautiful boy. And then they would just like forget about the Epstein stuff and it's just not going away. It's got to be sad because Teflon Donnie has always been able to whip up his base. It seems like the base is more upset about not getting what they were promised rather than the actual pedophilia. Like, it would have been far less impactful on his approval had he not run on it. I mean, it's not just that, because there are certainly a lot of people in the base that cared about this, right? Like, there were definitely people, because he didn't like put it at the forefront of his campaigning, but he did mention it every now and then. I think it's that they literally tie Jeffrey Epstein to the one like actual tangible deep state pedophilia cabal thing that they have believed for years and years. And Trump is supposed to be the great annihilator of the deep state. And now they are having to come to the conclusion that maybe he is deep state himself.
Is that true?
That's just another blatant lie, because he was there. The people that worked for Jeffrey in his office, you can find them. They can testify that they saw Trump in Jeffrey's office on numerous occasions. So for him to say he wasn't there, all I can say is that's just another lie.
Made me
like, for me, I used to always say like Trump has less of an involvement post Jeffrey Epstein's arrest with Jeffrey Epstein than like Bill and Hillary Clinton, right? Now, the way that Trump has been behaving makes me feel as though maybe that's not the case. Maybe he does have more involvement because he is very strangely talking about this issue. He's talking about this issue in a really strange way. He's talking about this issue like he's a man who has something to hide. Now that they're also going after the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff and like maybe even angling like a leniency, commuting her sentence or something like that, it just like, what do you get in return for that? What kind of false testimony will Ghislaine Maxwell make to show her appreciation for potentially her friend, her longtime friend, Donald Trump, releasing her into the wild? I think it also possible he doesn't give a fuck about what gets released because he knows he's not going to face consequences. Wait, what do you mean? He definitely gives a fuck about what's going to get released because otherwise he would have literally released it. What do you mean? There's one thing you can't say, and that is that Donald Trump does not give a fuck about releasing the Epstein files. More info is going to come out. I think Trump is trying not to step in it by not really saying much. Wall Street Journal is going to drop more for sure. I bet people are going to start snitching once the first shoe drops. Guys, Donald Trump loves to fucking yap. He's gay. Grade A yapper. Like me, okay? This is the one thing he's not yapping about, dude. Isn't that weird to you? Like, this is also like in the realm of conspiracy. This is his favorite type of shit to yap about.
Director of National Intelligence. Oh, where's Tulsi? She's like hotter than everybody. She's the hottest one in the room right now because she found out with certainty.
Bro, he goes through phases. No, this is not him saying like she's sexy. He's not. He's been doing this. Also, this is gay in the other way to just be like, oh, she's hot, hot, hot. America is hot. I'm telling you right now, this is his new word. He just loves using the term hot. He's just hyping Tulsi up because he thinks Tulsi gave him like an out to talk about the Obama shit, as opposed to like a distraction that she offered him, as opposed to the Epstein stuff. But it's not even working.
Knew it before, in all fairness, Tulsi. But now you have certainty. She has all the documents. She has everything that you need. And she found out that Barack Hussein Obama led a group of people and they cheated in the elections. And they cheated without question. It's not even a would you say there's even a little question there, Tulsi? She says no. And you found things that nobody thought we'd ever find. And very happy and very honored to have you with us. She's right now, by far, Speaker, she's hotter than you right now, Speaker. She's the hottest person in the room right now, Speaker. So, Tulsi, great job. And I know you have a lot more coming. She told me...
she's the baddest of them all. She's the baddest.
You've seen nothing yet. So I heard those rumors about you, but now I know they're true. So we're very proud of you, Tulsi. They cheated so badly, and ultimately it led to a loss in 2020, and it shouldn't have been a loss. It was a big victory. We won by a lot. We had to do it again. But if I thought we lost, I would never have run again. And this is a far more consequential election than it would have been if we did. That's the only thing I can say in favor of it. But
oh, it's that easy to get hundreds of millions of dollars for a failed media business. Oh, this is the other side of the story. Anti-woke warrior Barry Weiss seeks more than $200 million, up to $250 million for media startup Free Press. Weiss has won over Ellison partly by taking a pro-Israel stance, according to people familiar with the matter. Barry Weiss is seeking more than $200 million for her failed media startup that was propped up by billionaires to begin with. Okay. She has a fake unaccredited institution, Austin University. She has a fake dog shit website that just simply does Hasbara, pro-Israel propaganda. Okay. She literally couldn't even get fired from the New York Times, so she had to resign in disgrace and make it seem as though she resigned as a direct consequence of people being mean to her. Like, she has done nothing correctly. Yeah. Finally, Zionists are going to get a seat at the table at a major American media company under a potential deal. And CBS, by the way, is pushing Colbert out, and they're bringing in Barry Weiss. Okay? CBS is actively turning openly, like incredibly right-wing, more right-wing than before. Barry Weiss is a fucking horrible, gross, monstrous hack. Okay? She was hated by everyone that worked with her at the New York Times when she was there. She famously wrote that piece on the intellectual dark web for the New York Times that gave the name to the Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Ben Shapiro, Eric, and the other Weinstein. I forget what his name was. Like all of those guys, Dave Rubin. Okay, she interviewed all those people, Jordan Peterson. She was horrible. She ordered an execution, a hit out on Dr. Refat al-Ra'er in Palestine. And Israel obviously killed Refat al-Ra'er. Hasan, no, please tell me you're lying. No. Barry Weiss is one of the biggest industry plants of all time. Okay? She's never had a moment in her career due to her like unique perspective or her journalism or anything like that. She's just pure fucking utter dog shit. Her claim to fame has always been to be unconditionally pro-Israel, no matter what, while simultaneously complaining about wokeness on campuses or whatever the fuck. Okay, that's it.
Even more so because
wait, Donald Trump is live?
It's not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly. But I want to thank all of you again, once again. This is an incredible job. It's incredible people, really incredible people. And, you know, it's very interesting. I got to know so many of you over the last 6 months, really. But so many of you, some I didn't know. But you have tremendous talent. And you have some I spoke to too much. And I particularly like the ones I didn't have to speak to at all, Mary. I didn't have to call Mary. But in particular, but I like them all. Look, in the end, we got there. We got the vote of almost all. A couple of people that will never vote, no matter what. You know, they think it's so cool not to vote. They have no suggestions. They have no ideas. They have no nothing. They just want to vote no. I don't know why. They're not doing very well on the polls right now, by the way, I'll tell you right now. But I want to just, if I could for a second, because he really deserves it, is truly a spectacular person, spectacular man. I'd like to ask the Speaker, Mike Johnson, to come up and say a few words.
Mr. President, I'm not going to speak long. These guys hear me talk all the time, okay?
God, these guys are such fucking losers.
I just want to say that we have been making history together, and we're making history because you are the visionary, bold, strong leader that America needed. The American people recognize that. They gave us a mandate, and we're delivering on it. The exciting thing about the big, beautiful bill is America First is no longer just an agenda. It is now the law of the land, my friends. I could go by and name person by person, and I should name their spouses as well. All the members in this room, everybody deserves the credit. They underestimated us all the time, every day, because our margin is so small. But we do not accept that as our fate. We work together. This was prayer and patience and preparation and teamwork that got it done. We began this about a year and a half before that bill was delivered. The deliberate work down in the trenches.
I can't believe this guy's son monitors his porn consumption, but he's just literally making porn in front of national news by sucking off Donald Trump this hard.
We wanted to deliver for
Shameful.
you and deliver for the people, and we did it together. And I'm telling you, this is landmark stuff. There's not anything bigger I think we may ever work on ever in this legislative arena, because it may not even be possible, but we did it. And I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful and humbled to work with this group. Mr. President, they are committed to the country as you are. You are the strong leader, the example for us. With your stamina, we know we can never sleep, okay? We've got much more to do to deliver for the people, and we're going to do it. We thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the celebration. Everybody here deserves it. God bless.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, one thing, there's a Honda Accord license plate.
They televised someone's license plate. By the way, Barry makes $50 million from her Substack. Wait, what? Wise has met David Ellison, the incoming owner of CBS News, over a potential deal to sell her 3-year-old media company, according to several people familiar with the matter. She's made $15 million from her Substack. Dude, I think the Substack numbers are literally fucking pumped. I think wealthy people just like buy it in bulk or something. There is no fucking way that Barry Weiss has that many readers. There's just no shot. I think these guys, there's never been a moment where Republicans haven't valued propaganda. They value propaganda a lot more than dumb fuck leftists do, because the dumb fuck leftists don't understand the importance of fucking messaging, because they're dumb and fucking stupid. That's it. In any case, I think you can give Substack subscriptions. You can with Patreon. Yeah, I suspect that there's something going on there. I just think that I think that there's like something nefarious afoot. Felix spoke about that before. She has a loyal fedayeen of those weird guys that film TikTok videos in their cars. No, those guys don't have enough money. No, and there's not that many of those guys. Like, there is, listen, there's an asterisk next to a lot of the New York Times bestsellers. That asterisk implies that people bought it in bulk. Okay, they had to add that in because Republicans would constantly get themselves to the top of the New York Times bestseller list, and in order to get there, they would just purchase or not the asterisk, the dagger. Okay, they would do that because they would just like go in and purchase a lot of these books in bulk, instead of just like people organically going and purchasing these books on release. Okay? Campaigns mass purchase books as well. So I think that Bari Weiss probably also has a similar thing going for her Substack. And if she follows me, of course she follows me. She is an agent of the Israeli state, okay, through and through. Like, I remember, I think Cenk had a conversation with her at some event that they were speaking at, or debating against one another, and she was shocked to find out that I was his nephew. Plenty of people who are a part of the Hasbro machine follow me. They follow my every move. But my point is, like, she knew who I was as a scary terrorist supporter, but didn't know that I was Cenk's nephew. As in, she knew who I was independently of Cenk, despite the fact that people in that side of the media will usually know Cenk before they know me. I think the Free Press obviously is a right-wing institution, and it is tasked with one goal in mind, which is to promote Curtis Yarvin thought. It's propped up entirely by the Peter Thiels of the world, like some of the scariest, most nefarious, most villainous people in American society. But not only that, but also it serves one purpose, and that is to defend Israel by consistently claiming that every critic of Israel is anti-Semitic. So I think that's the only reason why she's getting this promotion from CBS News, who's saving her fucking dying enterprise that has no organic movement or organic growth. Bari Weiss is looking for a $200 and $250 million for a publication of the Free Press and a potential sale of like, I will say this freely and openly, okay? I have more of a much larger organic following than Bari Weiss does. And I am nowhere near worth this number. You understand? The only reason why she is going to get that number is because CBS wants restructuring. They want to become more openly right-wing, and they think they will get there by hiring Bari Weiss. That's it.
All the words that
I can't wait for your world to crumble around you, you scum fucking fuck. Scum sucking fuck. Fuck yourself, you terrorist loving bathroom tile licking R word. This guy's gotta be like, this is at least a 37-year-old. Okay? This is a 37-year-old, most likely to fucking do a rage bait video, front-facing camera, skin-tight Oakleys, seatbelt unbuckled, driving on the freeway, angrily ranting. Like 100%. Failed out of basic, but could have been something. Holy fuck. R word, lol. Holy fuck, you're pathetic as shit. You have a terrorist on stream, but you criticize others for having another world leader. I'd actually love to race you. Oh my God, he's confirming. He is confirming. He's 33. Oh, you found him? God damn, that's fucking fast. Jesus Christ. You found his PC build? How do you even find this motherfucker's PC build? Okay, I said 37. He's 33. So we're the same age. I'd actually love to race you. World leader. You have a terrorist on stream. Benjamin Netanyahu is currently the biggest terrorist on the fucking planet, dumbass. I like that for these guys, 19-year-old from fucking Yemen is the arch terrorist, but the International Criminal Court ordained war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, currently doing a genocide, not a terrorist. He's just a world leader. Like, that motherfucker is wanted by international organs of justice, okay? Their OPSEC is clean? Yeah. From his Twitch profile, chat rules, no racism, sexism, or discrimination of any kind, period. Cursing is allowed, as long as it's not aggressively targeted at another viewer, a mod, or myself. Let's all be cool to each other. Good vibes only, brother. Israel is sketch for sure, but Iran ain't better, dude. Netanyahu sucks, yeah, but so does Hamas and the Houthis. Yo, he sucks. Hamas legit steals aid and you blame Israel. First of all, why do you think Netanyahu sucks then? Because that's a lie that Netanyahu just says without any evidence whatsoever. There literally is not true. And yet you still believe him. So maybe you have also come to the recognition that you can't defend Netanyahu, even though you tried to do it subtly here by just simply calling him a world leader. Okay. Oh, Hamas legit steals aid. Nope, not true. You blame Israel. Yes, I blame Israel for what it does, which is genocide. Okay. Yo, he sucks. Yo, he sucks, but Hamas is trash. Netanyahu sucks. Yeah, so does Hamas and the Houthis. No, Netanyahu sucks. Okay. And anyone that resists against Israel's genocide is in the right. It's that simple. No matter how fucking brown or how Muslim they are, they're still in the right. And I think you are slowly but surely coming to that recognition too, which is why you have to at least like admit that Netanyahu sucks now, so you don't look like the biggest Israel dick rider in oblivion. You can't even get yourself to like openly defend, even though you have Israel's dick in your mouth currently. Like cough it out first. Netanyahu sucks, but also, you know who else sucks? The people who are trying to stop the genocide. He's just sketch, dude. Israel's just sketch. But sure, but Iran ain't better, dude. Why can't you admit they're both awful? Because I'm not a fucking moron. Seriously? You do know the Iranian government is directly responsible for Hamas. I don't think you understand, okay? There is literally no moral playing field where Israel and Hamas are operating on the same even playing field, okay? These are worlds apart from one another, okay? Israel is 1,000,000 times worse than Hamas ever could be theoretically in the future, potentially if they had arms, okay? They're not on the same planet. That's it. It's not even a question. One side is doing a genocide. The other side is actively smoking the fucking Nazi rapist soldiers that are conducting this genocide. I'm not going to fucking spend a lot of time shitting on the people that are actually defending their goddamn homes, despite the fact that they are being brutalized and slaughtered by the hundreds every fucking day. Okay? You, on the other hand, are a pussy. You fantasize about defending your home, defending your family, but you see a bunch of brown dudes doing that against Israel, okay? And you go, oh, well, they're bad for doing so. Suck my dick. What would you do in that situation? You'd only fantasize about how hard you'd be defending your homeland, how hard you'd be defending your home, brother. Keep making those bitch-ass PCs. Come on now. Come on now. Hamas is fucking horrible. What's wrong with you? I like that this guy thinks like saying the R word is the peak of being edgy, but then he's like, Hamas is fucking horrible. What the fuck is wrong with you? How do you believe this shit? Everything you can say can be Googled and prove you wrong instantly. Okay, prove me wrong instantly. Prove me wrong. Israel is a far greater evil on this planet than Hamas ever could be. Prove me wrong. Israel has done so much worse than Hamas did on October 7. Israel has done hundreds of October 7s to the Palestinian population since October 7. October 7 is not even marginal in comparison to the metric ton of violence that Israel's unfolded upon the Palestinian population. And this is before we even factor in the apartheid state that Israel actually has, okay, upon 5 million Palestinians, 2.5, or by previous estimations, before October 7, 2.5 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and 2.5 million Palestinians in the West Bank, 15 million total Palestinians living in diaspora and also the occupied Palestinian territories that Israel currently occupies. Okay? You can't on the one hand be like, I say the R word, I'm so fucking edgy and cool, you're too afraid of saying the R word, and then also simultaneously cry in the chat because I'm literally just saying the truth. Okay? So what's up? So it was okay for Hamas to just murder a bunch of random people? Did I say that? Did I say that? Go suck some Hamas cock. Okay, well, keep sucking Israeli cock then. Oh, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Also, building a PC is talent. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that that's your only talent, it seems. How are you all always on the wrong side of everything you talk about? It's not edgy. The R word is not edgy, lol. This is a pet. I'm keeping him. I like this one. How are you on the wrong side? Do you think I'm on the wrong side of this? Not only have I always been on the right side of this issue, okay, and I don't even have to say history will absolve me because I've been absolved already. I've been vindicated. That's why dumb fucks like yourself that previously would have been like, yeah, let's fucking melt Gaza into oblivion, have to do this like sheepish bullshit where you have to act like you don't actually like Netanyahu. You don't fuck with him. He's sketch. Israel is sketch. Cowards like you didn't have to fucking say this. You could have just been like, am Israel high all day, every fucking day. Until you also, despite how fucking dense you are, realized that the overwhelming majority of the public is not on your side, but as a matter of fact, on my side on this issue, on the side of the Palestinians on this issue. That's precisely the reason why pre-October 7, motherfuckers like you could have easily been like, hell yeah, Israel, I don't really understand the Jews, but Israel's fighting the good fight over there. That's what the type of shit that motherfuckers like you used to say. But now even you have to sheepishly admit that Israel's a little bit sketch, but its enemies, but Israel's enemies, those are so much worse. Please, please. Just put the PC in the bag, little bro. That's it. That's how you fucking know. That's how you know the situation has changed dramatically, okay? That's how you know. You're completely unhinged. You and Dan Clancy. I don't like Israel. How do you always get shit so wrong? I'm honored. You and Dan Clancy can both come over for a sleepover. You're completely unhinged. I really wish you would get peppered while you were being a moron at the riots. That would have been peak content. Oh, now you're like, oh, I hope the state does violence against you because I'm too much of a pussy myself. I can't go outside. But when you actually go outside and advocate for things you believe in, I hope the police pepper you. Well, I did. I got fucking tear gassed when I was at the protest. You missed it. It didn't do nothing to me. It didn't actually fucking take away from my convictions even one bit. See, now that's the difference between you and I. I have convictions. You are just confused by everything at all times. You're just responding to stimuli after stimuli, constantly in a state of panic and confusion, hoping that people don't realize that you're a desperate little moron who doesn't understand a goddamn thing, okay? While also weirdly simultaneously fantasizing about me and Dan Clancy coming over to butt fuck you, it seems. That's odd. Why do you want to get fucking Eiffel Towered by me and the fucking CEO of Twitch? Very strange behavior. Moving on. Go fan. No more immigration. Poland, Dubai, they have law and order. I agree with Asman 100%. I'm done with this cultural destruction. I don't want any immigration anymore. I don't want any here either. I'm with Baldy. I won't watch it. I'm no longer interested in the show. Why are there immigrants? Biggest, blackest dicks. White man has been here. How do you know? Cuck porn. Oh no. Hey, we know what happens to dudes who are constantly, BBC aside is real, dude. Watch out. Watch out, dude. You got to get BBC out of your mind, dude. We've seen how this played out on Twitter the other day, okay? Bringing up black penises out of nowhere. Oh my lord. Oh my lord, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're laughing and my friend killed himself because of racism. My friend killed himself because of BBC. Not the British Broadcasting channel, for the record. The other BBC. My friend fucking killed himself because white people are literally being ethnic cleansed, and you sick fucking people can't comprehend that without going, haha, you're scared of porn. Ha ha ha, you're scared of BBC. British Broadcasting Corporation, sorry, not channel. What is this? You read him to filth? Stop. Enough. Enough. We've made enough jokes about this guy, okay? Also, Skin Tight Oakley's 100% correct. That was a lock. That was a fucking straight up lock. You made him go nonverbal. He's still thinking about that BBC. That's why. He's like, I love how close the big black cocks thing was to him freaking out about immigration and how it must stop. That's fucking awesome. Like, amazing. This is why you make haters for life, Abi Jesus. I guess. What is this? This is a different person, right? Yeah. This is not the same guy. Maybe he has a humiliation kink and he just made him get off, so now he has post-nut clarity. I think it's okay to sometimes make jokes about people who just come in here and their starting point is that I'm like a fucking terrorist, you know what I mean? This chat is low-key so toxic. Yeah, we are. We are, for sure. If you come in here and you fucking call me a goddamn terrorist because I'm fucking criticizing the state of Israel, and then you routinely try to fucking do this wishy-washy, like middle-of-the-road bullshit where you're like, well, Israel's kind of sketch, but Hamas are terrorists. Yeah, of course you're going to get a little bullied, you know? Don't be a pussy about it. There's motherfuckers in other people's chats being like, we need to stop immigration entirely. Also, big black penises are constantly on my mind. And like, what? We're not supposed to laugh at that? We're not supposed to make jokes? We can't do that? Yeah, if someone comes in here to fucking bully and then they get a little bit of that in return, I think it's fair. There ain't no high road up in this bitch. This isn't a liberal community. it's so funny because like so much of the conservative grievances unironically revolves around like not getting respect from the left. Like they literally want to be pieces of shit and then have people like myself go, "Oh my God, sir, you're so terrifying. You're so scary. Why do you say those things? I secretly think you're in the right, but I can't say it because I'm too afraid of my audience," or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like they want to be pieces of shit, and it's not enough that they get to be pieces of shit. It's not enough that they get fucking Donald Trump to be the president and you know, deliver on most of his campaign promises, maybe not the Epstein stuff, you know. And then like simultaneously, you can have motherfuckers be like, "Oh, you should die. I hope the police fucking shoot you." And then we turn around and we're like, "You're a fucking loser who weirdly fetishizes black people for no fucking reason and is terrified of your own shadow." And people go, "Oh, why did you bully that guy?" Motherfucker, he put that shit out there himself. There is no world, there is no reality where you can like walk into a diner and behave like this and not expect some retaliation. So why the fuck is that any different here? I treat you seriously like a human being. What is this fucking soy ass behavior? He has a message in that stream. "I wouldn't feel safe with Hasan and crew there. Why does he think you would know who he is outside?" Wait, what? That's what he said? He's fantasizing about me doing violence to him too? That's so weird. That's so fucking strange, man. Bro, some of you chatters need to stop. One of you motherfuckers found his wedding photo, bro. What are you doing? Okay, that's not, I don't need to see that. That's crazy. Okay, dial it back, chatters. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. Anyway. At least they were nice enough to cut out his wife from the picture. Unless he did that after the divorce. I don't know, but... No, he actually straight up said it out loud. Look at this. This is so sad. Trump coaches Republicans to say Obama cheated on the election every time they're asked about Epstein. Oh my Lord, he is so fucked, dude.
Remember, don't let them forget, it's so important, Obama cheated on the election. Look, the camera just went off. Obama, the red light just went off. Can you believe these people, how bad they are? Obama cheated. When they give you all the nonsense, Obama cheated. And
I thought he was talking about, did we watch
his people cheated, but he was there. You ever hear this? They talk about, if they ever even mention it, they never mention his name. Just the opposite with me. But they only mention my name. They don't mention any of you guys. They don't mention Tom. They don't mention Steve. They don't mention our great speaker. They mention Trump all the time. I'd like to have them mention you. But remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold.
Wait, Obama cheated on the election, but you won. What election is he talking about? This motherfucker won the election that Obama could have cheated on. That was 2 elections ago. You won that election. What does he mean Obama cheated on the election? Like, is he talking about 2016? Wait, he's saying Obama cheated on the 2020 election? How the fuck would Obama have any power to do anything? Why would it be Obama that's cheating on the 2020 election? No, Obama cheated to defeat Hillary and elect Trump. I think he means in 2016, right? Like, that's what he's got to be talking about. Unless he means like Obama cheated to win in 2008 or something. Like, or 2012? No, I don't think so.
Hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly.
The fuck? That's crazy. That's terrible. I mean, he won the election that Obama could have cheated on in 2016. So what does he know? How could Obama have cheated on the 2020 election? I don't understand that because he wasn't president at that point. And the last time Obama could have cheated, Trump won that election. So is the argument that like Obama cheated, but he still won? Like that's how good he is? Is that what it is? Obama had sex with a different election. This feels like, yeah, see, I'm telling you, look, he's accusing Barack Obama of treason over the 2016 election claims. Like that's it. That's not, chat, that's 2016. Which again, doesn't really make sense because he won that election. So what is the argument? He won. Like, let's say Barack Obama did not want Donald Trump to be president. And he was up to his old tricks, okay? Old Hussein Obama, you know, doing Muslim tricks. Because he is African Muslim and a socialist communist. Okay? He still won the election. It was too big to rig, baby. Like, what are we talking about? So how could he have done anything in the 2020 election? It's pretty funny to think that he's still mad about like not winning the popular vote in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, even though he already won the popular vote this time around. John has become a puppet too? Nah, he's just committed to his ways. That's the difference. I don't think Jon Stewart is a puppet or anything. I think he is honest. You might disagree with him, but I think those are his genuine opinions. I don't think he shelters his I don't think he ever hides his true opinions on anything. And especially if you listen to his like podcast snippets and shit, like he's pretty on it. There's just a limit to his ideology. Look, no disrespect. I had Abdul El-Sayed on yesterday. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. He's running for Senate in Michigan. But there's a limitation to guys like this, okay? No matter how honest or earnest they are, there is a limit to their ideology, okay? That's why when I said it's capitalism, he said, no, it's corporatism. I'm sure many of you picked up on that, okay? And it's the same for someone like Jon Stewart. Like Jon Stewart will never take that next step. He just won't. It's never going to happen. Bernie Sanders is never not going to be a liberal Zionist. It is what it is. You know? That's it. They're older. they're committed to their worldview, their vision, it's going to be difficult. No, that's not true. He's very progressive. No, I know. He's a lot more progressive than he even lets on his show. I never said Jon Stewart is not progressive. He is. Jon Stewart also talks about Israel in very similar ways that I do on his podcast. He does not talk about Israel in very similar ways that I do on his show. To the extent that is like permissible, Jon Stewart has always been a major critic of Israel, but I think that's the only thing that he he maybe moderates his perspective on when he's on television as opposed to when he's on his own podcast, when he's on a longer extended format. I've listened to him talk about Israel on a less restrictive format. Kyrie wants to interview with you? Kyrie Irving? Are you serious? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. No, you're fucking memeing, right? Are you being serious? When? I have to get a haircut right now, but I will do it. Yes. I have so many of his shoes. You don't understand. Are you faking? Are you being serious? Are you being real? Stop. Chatter, answer me right now. Is this a bait? Don't hurt my feelings. He wants to interview pro-Palestine people. Did he say he wants to interview me? Or did he say he just wants to interview pro-Palestine people and you thought, oh, I'll just go in and excite HasanAbi Piker for no reason? Man. Yo, dog, LeBron wants to talk. Shut the fuck up. At least with Kyrie is like plausible. He's linked up with a lot of content creators that I know. And that's oh, Dua Lipa wants to link up. Okay, stop. Yo, President Xi is on the phone. Yo, Wemby wants to talk to you about Mao. My heart can only take so much. You motherfuckers are bad. Okay, I have to go. I literally have to go. I'm not crying. I'm not leaving in disgrace. I actually have to go to get a haircut. I have a haircut coming up right now. My hair's gotten too long. I got tricked. It's fine. Maybe in the future, Kyrie will actually talk to me. Anyway, love you guys. Free Palestine. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The starlight to the top, it just begun. There he is again. Hasan is streaming. Hasan is streaming. Reviewing the P.O. box. Uncle Uger's face. Sat in Discord at your prop. Great names take embrace. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, Ane at your door. H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiance talks of champagne bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot at DC. There he is again, Hasan is streaming. Hasan is streaming.